What's going on, everybody? This is Dee Dee.
This is Tramel.
And today we're going to come to you with the fundamental basic videos to help you understand how to draw trend lines, support and resistance, how to understand what a pullback and a retracements is, candlestick patterns, different time frames, as well as the structure of a currency pair. So
let's get this money.
Exactly. So first thing first, I want you to understand that this is not a strategy. These are fundamental basics that you need to know before you learn a strategy and implement the strategy that you're using. So if you have not watched your IML basics, if you have not watched the basics call, please go back and watch it before you watch this video, please and thank you. And make sure you get a grasp and an understanding of what is a PIP, all the basic, what is Forex, major market participants, all the very basic, what is the lot size, those very basic things needs to be known before you watch this video. So if you've done that, you're in the right place. If you need help solidifying any of that basic information, in addition to the previously recorded video, you can also visit www.babypips.com, go to the educational tab. Very resourceful website to help you solidify those things if you like to read. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into it and get started. First things first, we're gonna go over what is a trend line.
Okay, so a trend line. A trend line is where you see the market is ranging at. If it's going into a buy, you want to see that it's going into an upper trend. If it's going into a sell, you will be looking for a downtrend, right? And with those trend lines, you need to make sure that we're going to show you how to make sure that you're doing the correct trend lines, because if you're in an upper trend, if you're in a buying market, your trend line should be touching at the bottom of the candlesticks. If you're in a downtrend, it should be at the top, and you need 2 or more touches. So we're going to show you guys how to make sure that you're making correct trend lines.
Thank you. And also, so we're going to share our screen. We're going to go to the actual charts and show you how to properly draw a trend line. And also throughout this call, you're going to see me specifically talk about, let me show you all, this book right here, the Candlestick Trading Bible. Very essential to everything that we ever teach you. All the resources we ever use to learn what we know, you have at the grasp of your hands as well. So if you take a look here on the page, 1 second.
61.
I think so. Excuse me. 61, how to draw trend lines. So after this video, if you need more help and Baby Pips doesn't help you, you can also use this book here. So we're going to go ahead and get started right here on EURUSD. So for those who don't know, we are on tradingview.com. This is just a website that we use to analyze the charts on our computers. There's also an app that you can use to analyze on your phone, but nonetheless, you still have to enter your trades on your MetaTrader 4 app. This is just for analyzation purposes only. So first things first, let's get into, you should know the 3 ways that a market moves already: an uptrend, a downtrend, or consolidation. So right now, we're going to show you what a downtrend is and how to properly draw a trend line for a downtrend. So we're going to do it this area. You want to go ahead and take over, bro?
Yeah.
All right.
So in a downtrend, right, that's when you're seeing lower highs, lower lows. And you want to make sure that you have 3 touches on the highs.
Tell them how to get to the trend line.
So you will go to the second tool, right? And you will click trend line. You will click trend line, and then you will see that you want to make it relevant to price. Price is way down here.
Well, not yet. We're going to do that in the naked trading one.
Okay. So basically, you want to see a real downtrend. So you want to make sure it's 3 touches. So this would be an accurate downtrend. This would be an accurate downtrend. As you can see, 2 or more touches, 3 for confirmation. 1, this is 1 touch. This is 2 touches. This is the 3rd touch, 4th touch. So it's in a downtrend. So that means the market is selling right now. So as you can see, I'm going to show you a buying.
Let me tell them something really fast. Sorry, 1 second, you guys. So as you know, for your basics, a downtrend creates lower lows and lower highs. Mm-hmm. So as you can see in a downtrend, your trend line will always be above, and it will be touching your lower highs. At some instances, you will have, it doesn't touch all your touches, because sometimes you can have what we call a fake out. But for the most part, a trend line to confirm it, it has to be 2, preferably 3 for confirmation to be a valid trend line.
So I want you guys to, if you want to take a picture of this, I'm going to write it out, the steps on creating trend lines. So on a downtrend, you want to have 3 or more touches, 2 or more touches, touches, 3 for confirmation,
Your trend line above on the downtrend.
and your trend line is above on a downtrend, which means it is selling.
Okay, so that's perfect, bro. Thank you.
You're welcome. So take a screenshot of that, print it out, put it in your notes, make sure you're taking notes, because if you're taking notes, then you're going to always learn. You're going to learn that it's going to help you after you're reviewing it. You have to stick to something. If you keep reviewing it, it's going to come constantly. Like a downtrend should be easy to recognize.
Exactly. And note takers are money makers. So make sure you're taking your notes. Make sure you also apply what you're watching and what we're telling you. So go to the chart yourself. Go try to identify what a downtrend is and draw a trend line and send it in the group or to one of us to say, is this correct? Never be scared to ask questions. So that's perfect. Y'all see a downtrend? And I talked about this in the basic training video. Of course, when you're in a downtrend, you have long sale. If you're in a downtrend, you're only catching sales because you do not want to counter trend trade. So you'll only be catching the long sales, as you can see. And we already know that the market doesn't move in a straight line. It always makes impulsive moves and then it pulls back. We're going to get to that in a second. It makes impulsive moves and pull back. Impulsive moves and pull back. The top of your pullback should be touching your trend line for the most part. As you can see all the time, it may not, like in these areas, but it still pulled back and it sold. But we'll get to that just so you know what a downtrend is. So now I'm going to show you what an uptrend is. We're going to scroll back here. And as you've known, an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. When the market is moving up, it is buying. And that's what an uptrend is. So we can go to our tool again on the left side, click trend line. And if you're in an uptrend, your trend line will need to be underneath the trend. It needs to be touching your your higher lows. Let's change this and make it brighter or thicker. First one. As you can see, you guys, I started my uptrend from down here. What's this? Did I put something on here? I put something on here, y'all. Don't mind this. Let's see. Sorry, I had clicked the different.
Oh, info line.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, you guys. So if you're in an uptrend, your trend line needs to be beneath. Do not put it up here. That's not an uptrend. Don't put it through. Don't do none of that. If you're in an uptrend, your trend line needs to be clearly, make sure it's touching your trends. Don't force a trend line. Sometimes they may be steeper than others, but please do not force it. So as you can see, and as Tramel told us previously, it has to be 2 or more touches, right? I'm going to do. So here it touched it. It touched it. It touched it up here. Confirmation that it is in a clear uptrend. I've also explained this in the basic training calls too. When it breaks your trend line, that's how you know it is no longer in that trend. And this is a clear example. We were in an uptrend. We were creating higher highs and higher lows. We have our trend line underneath. But the second it broke it, we were no longer in that uptrend. It started going down until it started going up later. But when a trend line is broken, that is a sign of a reversal. It can be the opposite trend, or it can start consolidating, or it could be a fake out. That's where patience and discipline come into play, and we will get into that soon. So I hope that was a clear indication of what is a trend line. For the most part, very simple. We're not going to overcomplicate it. But also, you know that the market either consolidates or ranges.
Let me write that out for you.
Sorry, y'all. So she's going to get you your notes that you can screenshot or write down.
On an uptrend, right? You're looking for buys. Buying. It's a buying market. And you want 2 or more touches, right? 3 for confirmation. And the trend line must be underneath. Must be below.
Perfect.
Screenshot that. And that would be your uptrend. That would be your uptrend. It's creating higher highs, higher lows, which we're going to get into that.
Which we already did in the basic training call, but we'll talk about it when we talk about pullbacks. So I hope that was helpful. As you can see right here, the market also moves sideways, as I mentioned before, either ranges or consolidates. It doesn't create any higher or lower, higher high. It doesn't create any high, low, highs or lows.
Yes.
So it's moving sideways. We do not trade in those markets, but I just want to show you that when you do see those markets, you can put a lot. Well, we're gonna put a box over it. You can go to your fourth icon, click rectangle. Anytime your pair is consolidated, you do not trade it. So what would you do? You'll put a box over it and you'll wait for a breakout. As you can see, it was consolidating or ranging and it broke out in a downtrend. So then we would have caught some sales, but not when it was consolidating. So that's it for trends. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. But now we're going to get into what a support and resistance lines are. So let's clear this chart. All right, so I've explained this a little bit on the basics, but we're going to get into it more in depth. So support and resistance line. This is one of the most important things that you need to learn when you're trading. Until you understand this, you do not need to move on to get into trades by yourself. You need to understand how to draw a trend line, and more importantly, how to draw a support and resistance line. So what a support and a resistance line is an area in the market that price reacts to in a certain way. And when you're drawing these, you always want them to be relevant to price, but we'll talk more about that in our naked trading video. So it's an area in the market that has touched preferably 2, 3 or more times for confirmation as well. But this time it's not a trend. It will be a line across your chart. So let's give you a more visual aspect. And you may hear people refer to support and resistance as the floor and the ceiling. And so we're going to use that example here. So let's go over here to the second side. I'm gonna let you do the next one, and we're gonna click horizontal line this time. Where you see a good support and resistance area?
Right there.
Right here, where price is currently at.
Yeah, that's great.
I agree. So we put this line here, right? And let's show you all why we called it a support and resistance. Now remember, some people try to separate support and resistance. It is one in the same, because something that was once support can become resistance later. So as you can see here, this would be considered support right here, aka the floor. Why? Because these candlesticks, also known as price, we'll talk about later. When it gets to this line, it reacts a certain way. So the times that price got here, it treated it like a floor. And it went back up. Every time it came down, it went back up. Every time it came down, it went back up. Every time it came down, it may go back up. That's where price is currently at. So we're waiting for a reaction. But based on the history, because price always repeats itself, this is a strong support line because at 3 different points, price reacted to it as a support and it stayed above that line. Now, if we scroll back to verify how strong this line is, let's see, you can see it's very strong because price let's look at the bottom. If you look down here at the bottom at the date, it says May 19, 2017. Price stayed above this strong support line since May 2017. So that's telling you something. When it gets to this line, something major is going to happen. It's either going to stay above it as a support or it may break through and become a resistance line. So let's continue to look back. So as you can see previously, it stayed under this line. So it would have been considered resistance, which is like a ceiling or a roof. Every time price got here, it went back down. It hasn't, during this, let's see, October 2016, it stayed up under this line until May 2017, where it broke this resistance line, and then it turned into support. And that's how prices support in resistance. It's either a floor and or a ceiling. So when you're drawing your support and resistance line, you want to always scroll back to make sure to see how strong those areas is. Now, just to let you know, support and resistance are really zones because lines are too absolute. Price can like break over a line a little bit. So you may see some advanced traders take their rectangle box and create zones. more so zones. That way, if it breaks it, it's more of an accurate indication of what price is doing because it's not just a line. So I would do a little bit. But for beginner purposes, you can draw your support and your resistance lines until you get more comfortable with it. So the naked trading video, I deleted the line by accident. The naked trading video that we will have will go more in depth onto how to properly draw them with your strategy. But I just wanted you to get an indication of what support and resistance lines are, what it looks like, and how we find them and check for the strength of them. So would you like to draw another one and explain why you put it there?
So yes. Another one, the reason why you want to go back and back test and just see where pricing had trouble getting at or resisting that is because these lines are very essential. Like you have to know when it's a right support and resistance line, because if not, then guess what? Your analysis can be wrong, and now you can got in the trade for a buy and it really went for a sell. So you
1 second, may I ask something, please?
Yes.
You will learn later when we explain that these are important because this is where we get into our trades at. If price is not at our support and our resistance lines, we do not get into a trade. And that's why it's very important to draw them relevant to price and draw them in strong areas based on the history and back testing. So there you go. Sorry.
So what she was saying, just you have to back test. Support and resistance lines, they should come easy. So you should mark up multiple pairs right now. You should be marking up multiple pairs, studying support and resistance, studying trend lines, right? So now I'm going to show you the next relevant support and resistance line. And I would put it right here, right? The reason why I'm gonna put it right there is because I seen a touch right here. It rejected, right? It touched right here, rejected, right? Now, touch. You have to have 3 or more touches. And as you can see, it's multiple touches, right? So as you can see right here, it touched right down here and resisted and went back down.
And so it was once support and it turned into resistance.
Yep, once support turned into resistance. So you have to make sure that you're marking up your charts relevant to price and seeing where price is having trouble at. That's all you got to think about. That's when I first started, I just thought about it. I'm like, I need to see where price been having trouble at resisting and supporting it. That's all you have to do to mark up your charts on support and resistance. And you should do this with multiple pairs until you get used to it. And then now your pair you studying is going to become easier. You're going to know, you should know what it's doing to that zone always.
I agree. That was great. So as I said, we'll be referring to these, to this candlestick book that we have showing you the page. So on here, support and resistance levels is on page 58 if you want further help with how to identify and draw them. Also, you can learn about more trend lines, support and resistance if you go to your IML Academy and click on technical analysis. There are videos in there covering these topics as well. So that was perfect. We got support and resistance down pat. So now what we're going to talk about is...
You want me to write it out for them?
Yes,
all
perfect.
Right. So support and resistance. Let's go ahead and write this out so you guys can screenshot it. So supporting, which you guys should already know off your IML basics. No technical analysis. Okay. 3 or more touches. 3 or more touches. Same thing as trend lines. 3 or more touches. The next, you want to see, I'm going to break it down. See where price is having trouble at. Trouble breaking or supporting. Don't overthink. Support and once can be resistance. And resistance can be support. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. That's all you have to know to mark up your chart.
Scroll back to verify it.
All right, scroll. Verify. You want to see
Our price reacted back in time, the history of what price did when it got to that line that you drew.
React to the line horizontal.
Perfect. I think that's good, bro.
In the past. Make sure you screenshot this, put it
Pause,
in your notes.
Pause the video if you need to write it down. Do what you have to do.
Print it out.
Scroll
Easy. There you
Perfect.
go.
All right, so now that we talked about trend line support and resistance, we're going to talk about what a pullback is and what a retracement is. So we're going to go ahead and take these things off the screen. You want to do it on this downtrend, bro?
Yeah,
You can take over on this. There you go.
So in pullbacks, your pullbacks are the same thing as retracements. It's the same thing as retracements. The market's always making impulsive moves and it's pulling back. Like you said, it's not gonna move. The market's not going to move. Can I do something like? It's not gonna move straight now.
You can use a brush.
Oh yeah. Or I just use the square.
Okay. Are you drawing it out?
Yes. It's not gonna move straight now. It like this. It's not just gonna keep going down. It's gonna have to pull back. But as you can see,
we're gonna show you. We're gonna draw a trend line and show you what pullbacks are.
Yeah.
But think about it like this: when you're running a race, you're gonna always need to take a break to recoup yourself. That's like the market. The market never shoots off in a buy or a sell and keep going. It always makes an impulse move. It pulls back or it retraces like it's breathing. It makes another impulse move. It pulls back and retraces like it's breathing. Yes. So you will really see, that's why it's important to draw your trend line, so you can be able to see at least how far you can get an indication on how far the market may pull back. So let's show you. Let's do this one here.
All right. So as you can see, I drew my trend line, right? Three touches. And as you can see, you're gonna see it's making, you're gonna see that it's making lower lows, lower highs, right? This high is lower than this previous high, right? So in the downtrend, let's write this out for you guys. The pullbacks, downtrend, pullbacks. Slash retracements. Lower highs, lower highs, lower lows. And as you can see, you want to, honestly, I would come over here until I get used to seeing pullbacks and knowing that it's in a pullback. I would come over here, come to the second tool and grab an arrow. I'm gonna grab an arrow, right? And I'm just gonna start from my uptrend. I want to recognize it.
Market moves down, an impulse move.
Pull back.
And pull it back to the trend line.
Right? It's a lower high. This high is lower than this one, the previous one, right? So now it's coming down again.
It's selling like the downtrend told us.
Right?
It got tired, right?
This lower high this lower low is lower than this previous low, right? Boom.
And pull back.
Pull back. This high is lower than this previous high. It's lower high, right? Now, look, check me out.
It sold again like the downtrend. So it respected our trend line, as you can see as well. As soon as it got to the trend line, it bounced off and it made the sell as we indicated. But once again, you running a race, you get tired. You got to take a break. You got to take a step back. And that's exactly what a pullback is. It made it sell. Now it's about to pull back. As he's about to show you.
It pulled back. This is just a fake out. So I'm going to just say right here. Right? This lower high. Because as you can see, the reason why I say this is fake out, these candles went up and then just came right back down. The market tried to trick you, think it was going to buy. So you don't want to confuse yourself, right? It's still below in this trend. So this high is lower than this high, right? The previous one. And now it's creating a lower low. This low is lower than this previous low, right? The market, it does this all the time. We have to pay attention. This high is created, is lower than the previous low. The previous high, right? Now it's creating a lower low. Come on, y'all. This is textbook. Textbook. So you have to make sure that, make sure you're studying this. Make sure you go grab these arrows. What I'm showing you is essential. Go do it. Homework. This is your homework. This is going to make you money. So this high right here is lower than its previous high, right? Now it created a low.
And what did it do? It pulled back.
Pulled back. And this high is is lower than the previous high. So
let me show y'all something too before he moves on. So as you can see, for those who didn't know, whenever you see that dash line, that's where price is currently at. So that's the candlestick that we're currently at right now. So based off what we just went over impulse move pullbacks, impulse move pullbacks, this is another impulse move sale, aka a sale happened. So now, because it's creating another lower low, we know for a fact right now it's gonna pull back eventually to your trend line. The market repeats itself. It's simple. Do not overcomplicate trading. You master one thing, don't rush the process. You move on to the next thing. Collectively, it's gonna become easier. We know why. Impulse move, pull back, impulse move. So what is it gonna do? It's gonna pull back, hopefully to the trend line.
Textbook.
Easy. And the same thing, it goes for an uptrend.
So right here, okay. Make sure this off. Okay, settings. I got something else to write. The low has to be lower than the previous one, The high has to be lower than the previous high. And previous low.
Because you know a downtrend makes what, y'all? What kind of movements does the downtrend make? Lower lows and lower highs, as Tramel said at the top there.
Lower lows again. I'm gonna write it again. Lows, lower highs. And I want to say this. Please don't get in a sale right down here.
We're going to talk more about this in our entry point videos. But whatever your trend is, that's the only type of things. If you're in a downtrend, you're only catching sales. If you are in an uptrend, you're only catching buys. If you're in a consolidation, you're not catching nothing. In this downtrend, we would have only caught the impulsive moves. And when it was pulling back, we would not have gotten to a trade. And that's where discipline and patience come into play.
It is at the high point. Sell is at the high point. Because
you buy low and you sell high. We'll get more in depth. We don't want to confuse y'all as beginners.
Yep.
But just for if you're in a downtrend, you only will buy at you will sell at your high points because you buy low and you sell high. Because you sell at your high points. Why? So when you get in and you press sell on your trade, you catch all these sales. Disregarding your proper risk management, your discipline, but that's why you don't want to get into a sell down here and then it start buying on you. You sell at your high point so you can capitalize on everything when it sells. So that's that for pullbacks. You can go to your technical analysis tab, as we said. Same thing for an uptrend. As y'all can see, you can take your arrows and do the same exact thing Tramel just did. It makes impulse moves, it pull back. It make impulse moves, it pull back. It make impulse moves, it pull. We would have drew our trend line, right? We don't want to make this video too long either, but we also want to be very thorough and clear.
Yeah.
So this was our uptrend. It made an impulse move up as a buy. It pulled back to the trend line, respected it. It made another impulse move, pulled back to the trend line. Impulse move, it had smaller ins and outs, but it pulled back. Impulse moves, pull back, right? So let me show y'all something. Let me take this stuff off right quick. I hope y'all screenshot it, rewind it if you need to. But let me show y'all something. And I know a few people got a bit confused on this when I did this last time on a basic training call. In your overall trend, there's always minor trends as well. Because as I said, the market makes impulse moves and it pulls back. Those pullbacks in a sale are temporary buys. We got long sales, short buys in this downtrend. We're not going to overcomplicate this, but say I was to draw a trend line within this overall trend. If I go to my trend line, let's make it white. And I'm like, okay, it's selling right now, but I wonder when it's going to buy. You can put a small trend line over the inside sale. Let's just say right there. This is 2 or more touches. Why? It touched it right here, right here, right here. This is the overall sale. The second it breaks your trend line, that's how you know it's a reversal, another trend, like we told you. It works the same within trends. So you say, okay, I'll get into a sale, but how I know when it's about to buy? The second it breaks your trend line.
Easy.
The second it breaks your trend line is no longer selling. So then you can take that off. This is also on your IML, definitely your IML. You could take that off, do another one. You're like, okay, I'm not going to get in for this pullback because Didi and Tramel told me if we're in a downtrend, we're only catching the sales. But let's see how long it's going to buy. When is it going to stop buying? The second it break your trend line, it started selling again.
Easy.
So let's not overcomplicate this. Keep rewatching this video till you can get it. But as you can see, I can just keep moving this trend. It starts selling again. How we know is when it's going to stop selling? When it break your trend line. It's very easy. I can just do them all day in and out. When is it going to stop buying? When it break your trend line. When is it going to stop buying? When it's going to stop selling. When it break this trend line and start buying again. It's just easy.
Right.
When is it going to stop buying? This time.
Let's make this money.
Look, when is it going to stop buying this time, bro?
As soon as it break my trend line.
Very easy. So that's it for that. I want y'all to also understand, we're going to talk about it more in naked trading. These candlesticks, these tell you a story. These are what the major market participants are doing. I discussed it in a basic training video. These tell you a story. Once you start to understand these, trading will become much easier the more you master everything.
Yes.
But I also want y'all to be aware about the different time frames, which I talked about in the basic training video too. You never want to do all your analysis on one time frame. You always want to do top-down analysis no matter which strategy you use. We always start on bigger time frames to get an overall look, a bird's eye view, and then we make our way down from the day to the 4 hour to the 1 hour, and then 15 minutes or 5 minutes for entry points. Why? Because whatever happens on the smaller time frames will eventually happen on the bigger time frames. Why? The bigger time frames take longer for those candlesticks to form. If you're on a day chart, only one candlestick form per day. But if I go to the 4 hour chart, it takes 4 hours for one candlestick to form. So logically and mathematically, 4 4-hour candles make up 1 day chart. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. 6 4-hour candlesticks make up 24 hours, which is 1 day. So the smaller time frames give you a breakdown of what's happening. So if you don't see it on a bigger time frame, you have to go to the lower ones to get an understanding of what's going on. We'll talk more about that, especially in the naked trading video. So different time frames. So when you're on bigger time frames, don't get confused when it starts to look different. This is the day. Yes, we're on a downtrend. So say I do this on a downtrend, this downtrend on a day chart. Whatever you draw and see on one chart, you're going to see it on a lower time frame. So please don't get confused. But when the lower time frame, you see how you probably would have got confused, like, wait a minute. But if you zoom out, it's just a zoomed in version of that downtrend you drew on a day chart.
Accurate. It's an accurate trend line also.
It's just a broken down version of what's going on. So on a day chart, your downtrend was more concise, as you can see, because it took 1 day for each candlestick to form.
Touch, touch, touch.
So on the 4 hours, it's going to be zoomed in because more candlesticks form on lower time frames. But it's just the same thing once you zoom out. It's just broken down so you can see it faster. If I go to the 1 hour, I'm going to still see that same day trend. But if I zoom out far enough, and it might not even go because 1 hour candlesticks form every 1 hour, and that's why. But it's just a broken down version of what you've seen on the bigger time frame, the lower you go.
Yeah.
So that's that, and that's how we focus on moves. We'll talk more in strategies Also, last thing, I want y'all to focus on the structure of currency pairs. Right now, we are on EUR USD. As we know, currency pairs always come into two. So with that being said, the first part of your currency pair, so here the EUR, the euro, or the European economy, will be called our base currency pair. And the second one will be called, which will be USD, is our quote currency pair. Mm-hmm. So when you get more in depth into understanding, please don't harp on it right now. When the EUR, we're not going to talk about it in this video. I just want to try to pay attention to the structure of the currency pairs, and we'll talk more about it later. Mm-hmm. So do you have anything to add, bro?
No, just make sure you're doing your trainings and you're practicing on your trend lines, your support and resistance, and your pullbacks. Your trend lines, you grab the trend line from the second tool, right? 3 touches on either below for a buy, on top for a sell. Support and resistance, 3 touches where you seen it had trouble getting that. Pullbacks, go grab an arrow. You want to see that's called structure. You want to see what it's creating: higher highs, higher lows for a buy, lower highs, lower lows for a sell. And that's all I have to say for you. Practice. If you know this, you're gonna be a great trader. You're gonna be a great trader.
And you can do it. Don't be discouraged. Keep trying at it. You have to put in time on these charts so you can see it, so it can be familiar to you. Make sure you ask questions as well. We're always here to help you. As long as you put in your effort, we're here to help clarify and answer any questions that you may have. So once again, you can go to babypips.com. Let's do it for you. Why not? Babypips.com. Right here, click on education. This should help supplement the videos that you watch. How to trade Forex start course. They have it as if you're really in school. If you're in preschool, what is Forex? How do you trade? We know all that. If you watch our IML basics, types of charts, we know all that, types of analysis. Here, under elementary, we got support and resistance. And if you go under, it'll break it down even more. Trend lines, support and resistance, what a channel is, how to trade support and resistance. So please use your resources. Also, your IML TV. If you go to www.imarketslive and you log in, and you go over here to IML Academy, you log in. Oh, sorry, I want to. You go to technical analysis right here. They have these same exact videos to help supplement. Let's see, support and resistance, pullbacks, trend lines. So please use your resources.
Yeah.
And make sure you talk to us if you need any further assistance. So I hope that was helpful. Once again, I'm Dee Dee.
I'm Tramel.
And y'all have a good one. Happy studying. One second, how do you do this?